hard to tell from the watch today, but hi, I'm Ethan.
I'm Emily.
And welcome back to the wonderful world of Get Flocked, our little yarn shop in Christchurch, New Zealand. And this is our podcast.
Yes.
What the flock? As in, what the flock has happened here? No, we have questions and no answers. So come with us on this journey of reasonable knitting and sane decision making. Reasonable. Look.
This is only half the outfit.
I think it's less than half.
Yeah, a fifth.
Well, because there's also a cowl, and there's a shawl, and there's a Trinigan that is at BB's Magic Blocking Floors right now. So you'll see the finished Trinigan next week.
You need some pants or shorts.
If one more person suggests that I knit pants or shorts,
But
I'm
it needs
going...
to go full length.
If one more person suggests that I knit pants or shorts, this is gonna morph from me calmly being like, no thank you, to actual screaming. Actual screaming. No.
Socks at least.
No, I have been planning on knitting a pair of shifty socks because Andrea hasn't made a pattern, and I am perfectly fine with destroying several skeins of Spincycle to wear on my feet. That's where I've come to with this, so that is coming. But we'll get into all of that a little bit later. And other great news, if you could, please continue to help us out by subscribing to our channel, because that is one of the big drivers here, which we really appreciate. And we would also, I specifically would also, if you can today, I'd love to solicit some polite and engaged feedback, about how we are doing the yarn listings and the pattern listings down below. I've tried a couple different methods and I think it's been mixed results because I've been trying mixed things. If you could look at down below and how I've put that today and let me know a way I could make that clearer for you, I would really appreciate that. Politely. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, subscribe, like this video, leave us a little comment about whether or not you can understand the cracked way that I've written the instructions. I want to point out I don't think what I've done is good. That's why I'm asking for help. I'm trying to find a solution, and sometimes it's better just to ask. We will be right back with what we're working on. I'm going to stop doing that clapping thing right now, yikes. With what we're working on. Oh, I know, right? Like, it's almost as bad as the pen, sorry, baby. And we'll be right back with what we're working on, yikes. Emily, after your sip of coffee, there we go,
Yes.
Get it in yet? What are you working on? Tell the people.
I am working on my Alpine Bloom.
Hell yes. It's
And
going so quickly.
I had some concerns about the fit.
Yes.
So I did steam lock it last night.
Good. And how are we feeling now?
It's better.
Okay, good.
It's still a little snug, but I feel like a wet block.
Yeah. Oh, I think there's still room there.
Yeah, this you can still see that it's not completely flat. But it was definitely better after I steam locked it.
It's so beautiful. The colors are gorgeous.
Yeah, and I've done the little lace sleeve cuff thingies
Yes.
and grafted it on, and that was fine.
So cute.
And now I'm just doing the body rounds. So.
Yeah. I love the colors that you've chosen.
Yes.
What have you used as your yarn?
So this is Dear Diary Spincycle, dyed in the wool, and this is Kiwi-Yarn-a in Teal, the high twist. And I do happen to have, so this is Dear Diary on dyed in the wool and Dream State.
And I definitely didn't forget that I had taken 9 skeins of Dear Diary on Dream State home to knit something in and found them last night.
It's very pretty.
Yikes.
So yeah,
It's gorgeous.
that's
I
what I'm making.
love it. You've done such a great job.
Thanks. I'm really pleased with it.
So now this is part of our Alpine Anything knit along,
Yes.
which is kind of part of how we're doing knit alongs now, right? So we're trying to pick one thing that is a singular object. So, for example, You Rock by Suzanne Sommers, which is one of the things I'm working on right now for the same knit along. And then a bigger, more inclusive second item. So in this case, we went with Alpine, Bloom, Alpine, Hat, Alpine. I'm sure there's more things. I honestly...
The Autumn Alpine is the long sleeve version.
Whatever. It's the same pattern.
Yes, but it's long sleeved. And it has a different neck and hem.
Yes, I prefer the Alpine Bloom neck and hem. Even if it had had long sleeves, I still would have wanted that lace. Think of how cute that lace cuff would have looked on a long sleeve.
We can still do that.
I know.
I like the lace.
I
know
like the
there's some
lace.
people who don't like the lace, but I like the lace. And it's easy lace. It's not hard.
It's very pretty and simple. I like it. I think it's a very effective look. I just think it would also look very cute at the end of a sleeve.
Yes.
Like a big 70s bell sleeve situation with a lace cuff. Like, like pulling it in, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that would be super cute. I now feel the need to go home and start knitting, knitting more things. So after this knit along is finished, at the end of the year, which just one more time everyone, that's the date that we would call December 31st, end of the year. You're so cute. These 2 knit alongs will wrap up. And then we're gonna jump into some new ones, which I think we're both excited about.
Yes.
So I'm gonna show you guys my progress. I have stopped because I had to finish the Trinigan. It was taking too long.
Yeah, only like 5 days.
It's fucking painful. Honestly, it was like agony knitting that thing near the end. It got so heavy. But saying that, I learned a couple of really good things this time. One, my insistent pedanticness about tubular cast-ons and bind-offs, worth it. Worth it. You're gonna see why. It looks so good. Number 2, when I now get to projects that become that large, I'm gonna knit them at my kitchen table or dining table, or however you refer to the table that you would sit at to eat.
Like
Clean
to
it
take
first.
the weight off.
Yeah, it was so much better. I did the sewn tubular bind off. This is the first time I've ever done it this way. I did the sewn tubular bind off in one pass, in pretty much one sitting. I did about 12 stitches, then had to go to the gym, and then came home and sat and did the rest of it in one unbroken pass. It was not fast, but it was great.
Because it's like 1.5 meters all around, right?
But I got it done. It was really, really good. I think our postman friend is outside. I can hear him, I just can't see him. We'll find out. Anyway, so this is my U-Rock. It's well underway. I'm waiting for something that the postman has, which is the yarn floozy, so that I can dig in on 2 new cast-ons this week and also get this guy done. But this took no time once I started it. And again, I will say for the second time knitting this, thoroughly enjoyable. 10 points to Suzanne Sommer for making such a knittable, beautiful brioche and garter stitch pattern. So this is Pink Grapefruit on Savant by our good friend Katrine from Yarn Floozy. I'm loving it, super excited. I'm gonna go into Ambrosia next, and then into Eos, and then I'm gonna finish off with Sea Holly as long as there's some in the box that comes.
It has more of a halo than I would have thought. Looking at it, like from when it's in the skein,
I
not
would
in a
say,
bad way, but it's like,
I find most yarns have significantly more halo once you start knitting with them. In the skein, they've been plumped and steamed and or dyed, and they've been left to sit and fill back up. So with all that going on, I think that they do end up looking a little bit different. The other thing...
Speaking of halos.
I have cast on with a new hedgehog fiber base that I am trialing. This is Oh So Fine, which is their fingering weight merino. I definitely don't hate it. That's for sure. I have some regrets.
About
About
having that sooner.
Yeah, and also I'm more sold on the puppy love now than I was last night. I had a feeling that the more of it I knit, the more I would like it. I wasn't, even though I picked this color, I was just having some doubts about it. But so this is the sample for my High Street cardigan, which is the companion to the High Street pullover. They are separate patterns and you will be charged separately for them when purchasing. Thank you so much for coming. But this is a V-neck cardigan with a double knit or picked up button band. There's either option. Eventually there'll be a round neck version as well and a V-neck version of the pullover. But honestly, I ran out of grading steam this week and I just couldn't do any more. So I got to work on a lot of other things. We've done a lot of planning this week and this is flying along. I started this yesterday morning. I did the tubular cast on, and so it's moving along at pretty much its normal pace. I'm pretty much just a stockinette machine now though. Like it just happens. And I will say getting really good at knitting stockinette fast is something I highly recommend to all knitters because you will be able to make tons of stuff that you actually want to wear.
I do love puppy love.
Yeah, I'm fully in love with the whole situation now. I'm really thrilled with my decision. I think this is going to be a banger of a cardigan. I can't wait to make a second one, actually. I might be a cheater pumpkin eater, though, and use some knitting for olive that I have in my stash to make another one, because I am really curious. So, yeah, it's on a 3.25 millimeter needle. If you want to knit along with me at the same time, the test knit this for up is for the testnet for this is up in the Flock Online, which is our online learning center. It's also where we store all of our additional information, where we post up lots of pictures of our projects, where we talk and build our community. It's a monthly subscription. You get early access to most of my patterns as a testnet. And also, it's a really great place to come and ask me questions and get advice, because you'll all notice that I am becoming scarcer and scarcer as a resource. That's not an accident. I'm doing it on purpose, so that people have to come to the Flock Online to find me. Because
And there's also the brioche course.
the brioche course, which is amazing. Please go use it. It's the best thing I've done. I mean, all the courses are really good. I shouldn't say that. I do make a really thorough, comprehensive course. And I am launching into 3 new courses that will come out for free immediately online. So that's really exciting, including an intro to lace course that I think is going to be very helpful for something that we have coming up.
Yes.
Emily, what do we have coming up in the new year for our new knit-alongs?
Knit-alongs. Well, I am going to make pressed flowers cardigan.
You're not going to do both?
Probably not.
She says that now.
Yeah, that's all. I was like, oh, I'm not going to do a lace yoke. And then I did.
Yeah.
So pressed flowers anything. So
Pressed to
there's
anything, yeah.
a shawl, a hat, a pullover.
Socks.
Is there socks?
There's socks.
There's
Yeah, she's got everything going.
There's not shorts.
And multiple, thank God. I don't have to fucking hear about that. In multiple different weights too. So
Yes.
one of the nice parts is the shawl is DK, the hat I think is fingering or DK, the socks are fingering weight, surprise, and the jumper I think is DK, and the cardigan is fingering weight.
The cardigan is definitely finger weight. I'm not
Yeah.
sure about the jumper.
We'll look into all of it. Any pressed flower items that you want to make, we will accept. This is our Valentine's Day knit-along.
Yes.
Just stuff for our pals.
And the good news is we have got Spincycle. So
We do have Spincycle.
now would be the time to pick your colour,
Yeah.
because the
Did we
knit-along
say
starts in
pick
January.
your poison?
Pick your pressed poppy
No,
flower.
they have a color called Pick Your Poison.
I know
I tried.
that. But yeah, we might not have as much in January when the knit-along actually starts.
I would say certainly not.
You might as well get in there, and you can use Afterpay.
That's yeah, and we've got lots of great options, and we can also help you find your main color. So I'm going to be heavily recommending for this pressed flowers coming up either Aspen or Ashley 4-ply. The reason being that we want a nice structured yarn to give the beautiful Spincycle a chance to shine. So while superwash yarns have a big place in our yarn diet and are something we should always consider working with, when we got something like the mosaic that we're making as a garment, from my experience of knitting quite a few mosaic things now, I can say with a lot of confidence that we want to be aiming for a non-superwash yarn to go with it in this particular case. I know, and it's going to have some interesting effects, and I'm excited to talk about it after you swatch. Because I think once you swatch, you might feel pushed to go in a different direction.
Oh no.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I've done some swatching and testing for pressed flowers myself, because I'm going to be doing a series of videos about how to swatch for pressed flowers to get accurate results. Because I realized my swatching course is great, but it needs more case studies. So we're going to launch some swatching course case studies. And good news, in January, make Swatching 101 free to all of you. Because if I have to answer one more question about swatching, my head is literally going to explode. And I work in a yarn shop, so I have to answer a lot of questions about swatching. So.
And then the second knit-along is Pink Fizz,
Oh my God.
as seen in the press.
As seen in the press on Lady Di herself. Our Lady Di.
Yeah.
She looked cute. You looked cute too.
Yeah,
With the collar.
I was battling with my collar in the wind, but it's okay.
So yes, so Pink Fizz. So
Yes.
as always, we tend to take a lot of inspiration from the people in our groups, and there's definitely been some fizz around Pink Fizz. See what I did there? Do you want me to explain the joke? Should I tell you why it was?
that's okay.
Oh, okay.
But also speaking of jokes and sideline, the Pantone colour for 2024 is Peach Fuzz. Like that's what it's actually called.
Christine
is very happy.
Whoa.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Pink Fizz.
Back to Pink Fizz. Pink Fizz. So this is a held double mohair and fingering weight yarn combination that you're looking for.
Yes.
Designed by our one true voice of unreason, Andrea Mowry, who has the amazing ability to convince people to do things that I have tried for years to get people to do. And she's like, you do it this one time. So you know what? Thank you, Andrea, for getting more people to knit some lace this year.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna also be doing a thing about an intro to lace so that you have access to that information for when you're getting ready on your Pink Fizz, if you're playing along with us in the flock online.
We'll have some yarn fuzzy mohair that could make it pretty pink.
We will, we definitely will. I will say I spent a little bit of time last night looking through Ravelry while I was knitting. I do wish, this is like a really weird thing, I wish that Ravelry almost had like a project slideshow so that you could go in and see like a bunch of different projects in a row without having to click, because I was knitting and trying to do this and it didn't work very well, and it turns out my feet are not that coordinated. Literally, I couldn't scroll accurately with my, I know, but I blink a lot unintentionally. Not the point. The point is, I looked at a lot of different Pink Fizzes. I have a controversial opinion.
Are you going to say people should do solid and not variegate?
I think people should knit what brings them joy. If I was knitting a Pink Fizz, I would be doing it in a solid color.
I suppose it gives room for the lace to...
It really lets the lace shine. Now, a lot of Katrine's colors are more semi-solid, so I think they're still a great fit, so the yarn floozy yarns will still be beautiful. I would be cautious about knitting a highly variegated one. They can look a little busy. Where I think the simplicity of the monocolor really works well, and I am particularly excited by the idea of a black one, I must admit. I am not a huge fan of wearing black any longer, but I do think a black Pink Fizz. I'm also
black fizz?
A black fizz. I'm also just obsessed with that black mohair.
Yeah, we have lots of good colours for Vivian mohair, and solid bases that can peel with it.
Exactly, and we have expanded our solid bases by bringing in Mistral by Cessia, and we've got lots of great stuff on the horizon. So I think that Pink Fizz is going to be a real banger of a knit along. And I'm going to be honest right now and say, at most for this pressed flowers and Pink Fizz thing, I might make the hat or the socks. That will be the end of list for me. I don't have time to cram those in. And what's great is everybody else is going to have an amazing time doing it anyway, while I continue to knit fingering weight, stockinette, and seam the pieces together.
I kind of want a cropped Pink Fizz.
Okay. I could see that working. I'm excited to explore this
I feel
possibility.
like the length of the original is too long for me, and it won't.
It wouldn't work in your wardrobe.
Because I don't do pants.
No, and you don't really do like prairie skirts. You do like a circle skirt situation.
Yeah.
If you made a black one, it would look really good with that dress. A cropped black Pink Fizz.
I don't know if I'm a black kind of gal, even though I'm wearing black right now.
All
This
black.
is like the only black dress I have.
Okay, we'll find out more. So, those are the upcoming knit-alongs. That will be running until February 14th, which so happens is a Wednesday.
Oh, perfect.
Where we will be having a Galentine's Day, all pink, everything, joyful happiness day here at Get Flocked. Because if there was one holiday that was made for Get Flocked, it is Valentine's Day. I must admit, I am actually a big cheese ball, and I really am just gonna start leaning into it, and I'm going to stop, and this is a confusing thing, but I'm going to stop inviting other people into my joy about these seasons, because I definitely understand that there are a lot of different feelings about Christmas and about, you know, you pick a holiday, there's a different feeling about it. But I love them. I love the decorations and the music and the bad movies and the good movies and the talking to people and the spending extra time around people that we love and care about and all of those things. And I am lucky that I have that built into my day-to-day and week-to-week life because of what I do and how I built my life. But I also love a chance to really celebrate it. So we are going to be going full love core, if that's a thing. I don't know. I might have just made up a new thing this year for Valentine's Day. At least I am. I am going to be leaning into it.
I have lots of vintage Valentines, like the 50s cutesy
Perfection.
pun ones.
Perfection.
Choo choo choos.
Yeah, I love that. So join us that week for a special Valentine's Day party where we get together and celebrate the wonder of our relationships. And then we'll be right back with some Spincycle things that you should really be thinking about because we're going to teach you a little bit. And then I'm going to do this as a separate segment as well on the Flock Online of how we can work with our Spincycle. So we'll be right back once I figure out how to do this again because it has yet again shut itself off. So, a quick little segment on working with Spincycle and non-Spincycle suggested projects. So, there are a lot of great things out there that have been crafted specifically for working with Spincycle. And one of the things that I most appreciate about Andrea Mowry is her experience with hand spinning and her experience with Spincycle yarns means she is one of the best equipped to design beautiful things in Spincycle that work without much effort on your part. But the best way, in my opinion, is to actually introduce Spincycle into circumstances where it already wasn't involved, which is how I started knitting with Spincycle. So I've grabbed a little bit of a selection of some stuff to talk to you about what you could be doing with Spincycle and also with your newfound brioche knowledge from your brioche course, especially, to create something. And I've even got to get the look from something I've made to show you. I know, right? Like I actually did think this through in advance and made notes. It's shocking.
While you talk about that, I'm just going to grab some.
Okay, one of my favorite knits of all time and one of my most worn knits of all time is this particular little guy here, which is a skip hat by Jared Flood. I think I've made 4 of these. This is the one I wear the most. This is actually in Brooklyn, and you can tell that I've worn it because it is filthy. I don't do anything about it though because I wear it too much to wash it. This is Spincycle, dyed in the wool in Wallflower and Brooklyn Tweed Peary in Peony. So if you like this sort of effect, you could just take any brioche hat project and substitute in a color of Spincycle in a solid color. For example, I would be tempted to use this sexy mofo right here, Leaf, which is a very slow color repeat, so it doesn't change color a lot. It has a really beautiful effect that's a great entry point in the Spincycle. It's also used as a lot of background colors. And I would pair it with something like Cloud in Ashley 4-ply, and you'll get a very similar effect. And this sort of rule applies for anything involving brioche. We want to think high color contrast across all the different colors that we see in this skein to maximize the effect of the Spincycle. That's a really good rule for introducing Spincycle into anything. If you want it to have maximum effect, we need to have maximum contrast, just like in Emily's Alpine Bloom. If Alpine Bloom wasn't created with Spincycle, I imagine Emily would have made a very similar Spincycle decision when picking this so that she could maximize how the flowers look in contrast to the background. And that's a clever way to move forward with it. Another great option is to use it in shawls. I think it works beautifully in shawls, and this is one of my favorite shawls, which I can't believe is always at the shop, but it is always at the shop. This is Cento by Olga Buria-Kefelian. This is a 2x2, so a double brioche actually. This is not 2x2 brioche, this is double brioche. This is a double brioche shawl that I substituted the yarns completely for. So I used a sport weight yarn, Kashgora, that we usually stock, but a bit of an issue with it at the moment, and Spincycle on the other side of it. Again, in Midsummer, yeah. Again, for something like this, I would again recommend, can I please have this guy? There we go. So this is Rusted Rainbow, which is a personal favorite of all time. And I think it really shines with a warm neutral, like this beautiful biscuit shade here, which is Tussock on the Ashley 4-ply. These two yarns as well would make an absolutely fantastic pressed flowers together. I can't stress that enough. You have a beautiful structure and a soft shade that contrasts completely with this skein. Together, that's a match made in heaven for those types of projects. Now, last and not least, I also have a get the look option for you, which is introducing Spincycle into color work. Now, this works equally well with DK weight color or fingering weight. This is my possibly favorite jumper of all time that I'm actually going to take off this hanger because I don't like it hanging, which I should have specified because it will stretch the neck to shit forever. Sorry, these ones don't get hung ever. They sit folded. This guy is my Twig Cycle. This is actually what got me into knitting with Spincycle. Kate, one of the beautiful spinsters, oh, actually, I might have that backwards. It might have been Rachel. Rachel, I think, made she cardigans everything, and so she made a cardigan version of this pullover that I really, really loved in 2 different shades of their old hand-spun Spincycle. And I've been obsessed with doing this ever since, and I did this one. This is Sunset Strip, definitely my color, and some Rebel Light from the original batch in the dark bases, so you can't get this ever again, unfortunately, but I have a solution. Because Emily thought ahead. We have the beautiful Mistral, which is a gorgeous fingering weight that would do that job. And if you want to get my exact look, there is enough Sunset Strip in the shop, 3 skeins, because that's all. I actually had leftovers from 3 skeins, and I would point out I increased the size of mine by going up to a 3.25 millimeter needle. But these two together are a banger. And that is my little brief thing on how best to use Spincycle.
I was also going to add that we have the original colors to make this.
Which is probably the thing I wear the most. I wear a shift cowl almost every day.
Is the original colorway of the shift cowl that's in the design photos. And we have the 3 colors you need. So there is a kit online, but it's the castle, the meadows, and leaf.
Yeah, and so that kit is up online, and all of this is up on our website. And if you need any help with your Spincycle projects or planning for your pressed flowers, or if you've been inspired to do an autumn bloom or an alpine bloom or any of the other blooms that I'm sure I'm forgetting, please get in touch with us at getvlogknitting@gmail.com or just go onto the website and we're happy to help. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.